At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood. Here's Josh Graham.
Josh Graham Show, where your friendly neighborhood sports talk host is currently outfitted in Carolina Hurricanes gear. And if they do hold up the Stanley Cup tonight, you can bet that yours truly will be going all Petey Pablo, taking off this shirt, twisting it around your head, spinning it like a helicopter. But tonight's Game 6, it can wait because we must talk about the sports earthquake that has hit the Big Apple. Plain and simple, these New York Knicks were a team of destiny. And you don't deny teams of destiny. You don't get in their way. You don't stop them. In this case, winning their first Larry O'Brien trophy in 53 years. It was a team of destiny, and look no further than their path to getting to this championship. The stars just had a way of aligning. After dispatching of Atlanta in round one, New York drew Philadelphia rather than Boston in round two. With Jason Tatum back, don't forget that the Celtics were heavy favorites to win the Eastern Conference going into the playoffs. In the conference finals, the Knicks drew the Cavaliers rather than the top-seeded Pistons. That meant that New York would have home court in the conference finals. Also, the Cavaliers were coming off consecutive 7-game series. They were clearly out of gas. Then you get to the finals. Who do you get? San Antonio rather than Oklahoma City. As a veteran team, New York benefited greatly by facing the super inexperienced Spurs rather than getting the reigning champion Thunder. Also, they seem to have benefited from the Knicks, or from the Spurs having Wembanyama and company face a taxing 7-game war in those conference finals, while New York was able to get some rest, winning their conference finals in a sweep. The way New York won games in these playoffs, that can't be attributed to much else other than destiny. A 51-point closeout win in Atlanta, a road 51-point win. That happened a couple of months ago. Not just beating the 76ers, but sweeping them? How about a 22-point fourth quarter comeback against Cleveland in Game 1? The record 29-point rally in Game 4 of the finals. This stat here might be the craziest stat that you hear today. Not only did the Knicks trail by double figures in all 5 NBA Finals games, they also had the first, the third, and the 5th greatest comebacks in Finals history, all in the same series. That you chalk up to being destiny. Because of all of this, it's hard to overstate this Knicks championship team. If you want to go ahead and call Jalen Brunson the greatest Knick ever, go right ahead. In fact, here was Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe having this exact argument last night.
This Brunson thing, we were talking about all-time Knicks, talking about, could it be the greatest Knick of all time? I'm not ready to have that conversation yet, but
why not?
I guess we could, because this was one of the great final performances.
I mean, this is right up your wheelhouse. Is Jalen Brunson the greatest underdog story in the history of basketball? Like, small guard, second-round pick, doubted every step of the way, free agency signing, lukewarm to negative reception, and he is now scoring 45 points in a decisive finals game and winning finals MVP. I mean, I don't even know. I'm trying to think, like, who else is even in the conversation?
First finals win for the Knicks in 53 years. Jalen Brunson delivers it. 45 points in the closeout game, nearly accounted for half of his team's scoring. If you want to call him the greatest Knick ever, you can do that. You can make that case. If you want to call this the greatest New York sports team ever, go right ahead. Our friend Ian O'Connor did just that in an article he wrote last night from San Antonio. The 13-game winning streak, 16-3 the entire postseason. Rather than pile on the young favorites for not getting it done, looking at Wembanyama, 22, Steph Castle, 21, Dylan Harper, who was great last night, 20. Rather than piling on them today, we should be celebrating a deserving champion in the Knicks. We should be celebrating a deserving fan base as well, who's been waiting a very, very long time, New York Knicks fans. And we should just recognize the history that this just was and recognize the Knicks for what they are and what they were, a team of destiny. Will Dalton is the producer of this program. We got the tallest Latino in sports talk, Mondo, who's taking your calls at 310-840-4910. We'll put it to you first, Will. And Mondo, this is a question that we'll be posing throughout today's program. After seeing Indiana win a football championship their first ever. Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl in convincing fashion. Both the Big Ten women's and men's national title streak end on consecutive days. UCLA winning with the women, Michigan winning with the men in Indianapolis. The U.S. hockey team winning gold against Canada, the first men's hockey gold medal since the Miracle on Ice in 1980. And now the New York Knicks winning a title. What would you say has been the craziest thing we've seen in 2026? Because 2026 has quickly revealed itself to be a year of the impossible.
I mean, this Knicks run was pretty incredible. I think I leaned that one just because, like, if you really go back to the start of the playoffs, like, I'm not going to say nobody had the Knicks winning because that wouldn't be true. But you had the Thunder as an option. You had the Spurs as an option. Some people might have gone Celtics. Like, there was a lot of options of favorites before you got to the Knicks. And the way they did it, one loss, just the dominant way, the point differential throughout the playoffs, like, I think I got to go Knicks with this one.
310-840-4910. What's the craziest thing we've seen this year? And if you want to get real crazy, what's the craziest thing you could see happening in the second half of 2026? All these things have happened, and we're not even a full 6 months into the calendar year 2026. 310-840-4910. This segment sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Hurricanes, Golden Knights, Game 6, Stanley Cup final. Let's just call a spade a spade. The clock has officially struck midnight on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Carolina Hurricanes, my Carolina Hurricanes, are going to win the Stanley Cup. They're going to finish it off tonight because Vegas, the magic, simply has just run out. Let's remember this. This Vegas team was never supposed to be in the Cup final. Not this Vegas team. Don't forget that. They're a lot like Dante in the movie Clerks 30-plus years ago. I'm not even supposed to be here today. With 8 games remaining in the regular season, Vegas was just a few games over 500. Vegas was riding third in the often overlooked Pacific Division. It was at that point, out of desperation, having lost 12 of the previous 17 games, that the Knights fired former champion coach Bruce Cassidy and replaced him with John Tortorella. This was on March the 29th, 2.5 months ago. Yet, to John Tortorella's credit, under Torts, they caught fire. They even swept that monster Avalanche team in the conference finals on their way to getting to the Cup final. But it seems that magic has run out. Vegas goalie Carter Hart has been fully exposed. Never in Stanley Cup history has a goalie had 4 starts and allowing 4 goals or more in the same Cup final series. One goalie, 4 starts, allowing 4 goals or more. Carter Hart has allowed 4 goals or more in all 5 of his starts in this series. I think we have this sound too. When John Tortorella was asked about the goaltending situation following Game 5, was sitting next to my guy Johnny Lazarus as he tried to throw this at Tortorella. It did not go well.
John, did you consider at all going to Aiden Hill in the third period, or was there any conversation or thought about it?
Christ. That could be the stupidest question I've heard.
Taking note is stupidest question I've ever heard, better than unusual questions. Don't quite know. Note that he didn't answer the question. It's not a good situation to be in. Also, Tortorella announced in that very short, brief press conference, William Karlsson likely going to be out for the rest of this series, and that's a top 6 forward. You don't really just replace in your lineup all that easily. Meanwhile, the Carolina Hurricanes, they have proven to just simply be the better team. See, unlike Vegas, nothing about them has been fluky. Best record in the East this season, 8th straight postseason appearance. The Canes, and by the way, winning at least one series in all 8 of those postseason appearances, postseason runs. The Canes, they're on a historic run themselves. 15-3 in these playoffs. If they win tonight, they will become just the second team to ever earn the 16 postseason wins required to win the Stanley Cup and do so in fewer than 20 games, joining arguably the greatest NHL team ever, the 1988 Edmonton Oilers, with 7 Hall of Famers, including the great one in his prime. Vegas knows it's been outmatched, and their season's going to end later on tonight. But the question we're asking, what's the craziest thing we've already seen this year? Don't think Carolina winning the Stanley Cup would qualify on that list, but Andrew in Knoxville thinks he has the answer. 310-840-4910. Andrew, what is your submission?
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me. So besides the craziest thing I've seen as far as the Sorsby deal, I will say I think Indiana.
Forgot about that, too. A player being cleared for betting on sports.
Yeah.
Forgot to add that on the list.
That's crazy. $90,000. But anyways, I just think the Indiana thing, if you want to call it this year, I mean, it happened this year, but I mean, they've never won nothing in football.
That was January. It counts. Yeah, it counts.
Okay. That's all I was gonna say. But the Knicks, man, that's pretty crazy, and I'm happy for their fans. Besides the fact they're a little lunaticish, but that's okay. Thanks for having me,
Andrew. I love the call. That's great, and I'm with you. I'm siding with you as much as I love Will Dalton. I'm siding with you over WD on that front. That the Knicks. Not the craziest thing that's happened this year. Indiana football. What are we talking about? Indiana was one of the worst programs in all of college football. And they're the team that goes 18-0 and beats Ohio State in the Big Ten championship and wins the national title, blowing out Alabama in the Rose Bowl.
We did see that viral picture of, what was it, 2021, when that place was just the stadium was just sparsely populated with fans.
Kurt Signetti's first game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that was 2021. It was 2 years ago. It's 2 years ago. It wasn't 21. Yeah. It was his first game, quickly turning around everything in Bloomington. What say you? 310-840-4910. One beautiful aspect of the NBA is that once the season ends, there is so much to look forward to right away, like right on our doorstep. And that includes the NBA draft and a draft prospect that likely will go higher than you think. We'll tell you who that is next on the Josh Graham Show.
In Omaha, there's no tomorrow. The College World Series, where dreams are realized and seasons come to an end. Hear every pitch, every historic moment on the Westwood One Sports app. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Westwood One Sports Night. Here's Josh Graham.
I am Josh Graham. It's the Josh Graham Show. We've seen Indiana win a national championship in football. USA Hockey win gold in the Olympics. Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl in a rout. The Knicks just won the title in the NBA. Which of those headlines is the craziest thing you've seen this year? Could it be the Big Ten sweeping in men's and women's basketball? Could it be something else? 310-840-4910. Or do you want to forecast what the next craziest thing we might see in the year of impossibility that 2026 has been? Now that the NBA season is complete, the page quickly turns to the offseason. Where's Giannis Antetokounmpo going to play? That answer might be answered in the next 10 days or so. And then within the next 10 days, you also have the start of the NBA draft. Here is the central storyline that you should be paying close attention to as the draft quickly approaches. Duke star Cam Boozer, where's he going to go? Because if you haven't been paying attention, his stock has risen, and there is no ceiling for how high he can go. The NBA draft nerds, they seem to have overthought it with him. You know, the guys who clearly don't watch college basketball and focus way too much on traits. That generally is what happened with the draft guy, in air quote, NBA draft guy. The world generally overvalues this world, athleticism, physical traits in general. And that's not always what separates the greatest players in sports. We know this. If it was all about physical traits, Anthony Richardson would be a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Or maybe a better example, much better than Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. What physical traits do those quarterbacks have? Peyton always threw an ugly ball. Tom Brady has a dad bod and had it his entire career. Drew Brees. Oh, Anthony Richardson has all the traits. What traits did Drew Brees have? Ben Simmons would be better than Jalen Brunson. So on and so forth. Cam Boozer at 6'10", 250, 7-foot wingspan, he only does one thing: win basketball games. Mr. USA basketball, his last 2 years of high school. The only or the most recent player that could say they won Mr. USA basketball in consecutive seasons was some guy named LeBron James. Pretty good company to be in. High school state titles all throughout his high school career. Went 35-3 with the most difficult schedule in America at Duke, and unlike Cooper Flagg a year ago, did not have 3 other lottery picks on that team, or did not have a starting 5 that was all going to be drafted in that year. Here was former ACC coach, now college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg, making a strong case for Cam Boozer.
He's all about one thing. He's all about winning. I mean, like the maturity and the approach that he has for the game of basketball and for winning. To me, he's the safest pick, maybe not the highest ceiling, but the safest pick in the NBA draft, because he's going to be an 18 to 20 and 10 guy his whole career. He was raised to be an NBA player.
Given that Boozer was the National Player of the Year, maybe NBA teams, here's a crazy thought, should look to just add the best player in the country and call it a day. Isn't that what the draft should be in essence? Trying to collect as many good basketball players as you can, and he was the best player in all of college hoops. If Utah can't draft A.J. DeBonsa, Boozer might be the Jazz's plan B. The Jazz is looking for its franchise player with this pick. And while they'd obviously want to take BYU product A.J. DeBonsa, who their owner Ryan Smith has invested in years, and the same could be said for Danny Ainge as well, both of those guys, BYU guys, the Wizards might not allow them to have access to DeBonsa. So if DeBonsa goes number 1 to Washington, what does Utah do at 2? Danny Ainge has never minded cutting against the grain in the draft. Look no further than when he ran the Boston Celtics front office, decided to move off of the number 1 pick, move back to 3. Rather than taking Markelle Fultz, he takes Jason Tatum, another Duke star, by the way. And that's a good comp in this regard, too. One of the pushbacks you're going to hear about Utah potentially being a fit for Cam Boozer, Josh, they already got Jaren Jackson Jr. Josh, they already have Walker Kessler, who might not be long for there anyway. Josh, they've got Lauri Markkanen. It's not a basketball fit. They got too many players at the position. that Cam Boozer's set to play. That's not what you should be thinking about when you're picking number 2. Cam Boozer is 19 years old. You're projecting what he's going to be when he's 24, 23. You don't know what if Jaren Jackson or Lauri Markkanen or Walker Kessler are going to be on this basketball team 4 years from now. So you can't think that way. Just take the best player on the board. That's exactly what Danny Ainge did in 2018. It was a critique. Why are you taking Jason Tatum when you've got Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown on this team? Obviously, that turned out to be a pretty good pick. So that's number 2. You can't rule out Boozer from going number 1 either. There isn't a lot of separation between the top 4 prospects in this draft. Boozer, alongside DeBonsa and Darren Peterson from Kansas and Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. The best comparison for this draft is the one we saw in 2022. That year, we knew who the top 3 picks were going to be. We just didn't know what order they'd go in. It was Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith. We didn't know until draft night that it was going to be Paolo Banchero, the Duke guy, going number 1. So if another Duke player goes number 1 and it's Cameron Boozer, you shouldn't be all that surprised. His stock is rising probably the most among players at the very top of this draft. 310-840-4910 if you want in on the program. So we're talking about things that have already happened in 2026, what's most surprising, maybe what might happen the rest of the way. Projecting ahead, what might be most surprising. 310-840-4910 in honor of the Knicks winning their first title in 53 years, something that surprised a lot of people. Let's go to Wes in Idaho. Wes, where are you heading and answering the question? What question are you answering?
Well, I got 3 predictions for you. Number
Fire.
1, Seahawks will repeat as world champions. They've got an awesome coach. They drafted well. They're a great team. Number 2, the Chiefs, just like when Andy Reid had the Eagles, they're on the downschneid. So all this hype about Mahomes, forget about it. He'll be lucky to make it half a season. He's got pretzels for legs. And number 3, the Seattle Mariners will win a World Series this
Wes,
year.
are you by chance a Seattle sports fan? I'm just wondering.
Well, I am, but I'm speaking truth now. We got the best pitching staff in the American League. Our guys consistently go 6 innings. We got a 6-man staff, and we got players hurt. Right now, there's about 5 players like Cal Raleigh and Randy Arozarena, and a whole bunch of players are hurt right now. When they get back with that great pitching staff, the Mariners will win the World Series. And the other thing is,
I will say settle down on that regard, and in part of saying, can the Mariners just get to a World Series before we say it's facts that they're winning one?
Plus, their
can that happen first?
Farm team is the best in baseball.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say, you got a great show. You are the next Bob Costas. Period.
The next Bob Costas. Okay, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. I love Bob Costas. A guy who actually started out in sports talk in St. Louis before doing ABA basketball. Given the current state of my throat, not necessarily feeling 100%, sore throat. We're going to be okay. Not on the IL, Will. Probable, good to go, playing hurt, playing with a limp like Jalen Brunson. I don't feel a lot like Bob Costas today, but that's very kind. Let's go to Ronald, who's in Florida. Is there something that's happened this year in sports that you find to be most notable or most surprising? Is it the Knicks last night?
Yeah, man, I actually have 2. First of all, that Bob Costas, that's high praise, man. I heard that.
I mean, it's very, very kind. Very kind.
The best thing that I saw for me, dude, was Anthony Joshua popping Jake Paul's jaw. The craziest thing.
But was that
I
a
saw
surprise?
Oh my goodness, dude. Oh man, what? That was man.
Well, what do you think would happen if I stepped into the ring with Anthony Joshua? I'd imagine something similar.
Oh man, I loved it, dude. Okay, now the craziest thing, dude, was those Spurs fans running from those maniacs, those Knicks fans. Man,
Oh, yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
I'm a Spurs fan. Jalen Brunson, that's one of the greatest performances I've ever seen, dude. Wow.
How are you holding up today as a Spurs fan?
Oh, I'm cool, man. Like I said, I'm a Spurs fan, but dude, I have the utmost respect for the game itself. Jalen Brunson put all.
I'm glad. I love the
performance.
sentiment because honestly, it's annoyed me today. It's bothered me today seeing the way that we talk about things in an obnoxious manner with Wemby, where it doesn't seem we've learned any lessons. It's, when people tore LeBron down saying, he's never going to amount to expectations in 2011 when he lost to the Dallas Mavericks. Turned out that wasn't right. Went to 8 straight finals. And with the Wemby stuff, he's 20. LeBron then was 27. Wemby is 22. And he beat OKC and got to the finals. I don't have a negative thing to say about Victor Wembanyama today. I'm not saying a negative word.
Right. I come from the time of Jordan. This is how it goes. See, he's paying his dues, dude. He'll be all right.
Yeah, that's well put. Ronald, it's good to hear from you from the state of Florida. Let's do one more. Josh is in Miami. Josh, you're on the Josh Graham Show, Westwood One Sports. What do you have for us?
Look, I just want to say hats off to the Knicks. Jalen Brunson looking like a baby Dwayne Wade. I see a lot of comparisons there. Wemby is about as soft as some Kleenex, some one-ply tissue paper. Wemby's a bum, bro. You'll see. Give it a couple years.
Stop. I mean, were you calling into shows in 2011 when LeBron was getting backed in by J.J. Barea and scoring 8 points in a finals game? I remember. I remember the reaction, and it was stupid then because we know he was the most talented player, and then he went to 8 straight finals. Like, you could say all these things you want about Wemby now. We know how great he is. He's ahead of schedule. This is his first playoff appearance, and he went to the finals. That doesn't happen.
No, I watched all the games. He wanted no part in shooting the ball. He wasn't calling.
Same thing for LeBron in 2011. Would you say LeBron turned out okay? Would you say?
I don't know. The jury's out on the participation king.
That's
what he is to me, is a participation king.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll agree with you on that. Thank you for the call. And the participating he's doing is participating in the NBA Finals at 22. That, again, let's not lose sight of that. And Will Dalton, this is the part, honestly. People talk about how exhausting the Michael LeBron debates can be and how obnoxious that can be. This is the part where it gets obnoxious when you talk about otherworldly talents such as Wemby, where, saw this a number of times. He's already got a mark against him. Michael Jordan went 6-0 in the finals. So now Wemby can't be the greatest player ever because he has already lost. Trying to measure someone up against Jordan, whether it's LeBron or it's Wemby, it's a fool's errand. And honestly, it zaps fun out of this. It zaps fun. So today, why can't the show, I understand the reasons why people want to fire shots at Wemby, get it. But honestly, don't understand the sentiment where today can't just be about celebrating the Knicks and saying, whoa, that was great, without doing the dumb piece of calling Wemby the participation king at 22 years old. First playoffs that you make, you're in the finals.
I mean, first of all, participation king is ridiculous.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I mean, they took out the Thunder, you guys. Like, the Spurs, Wemby, are going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come in the West, despite what happened in this NBA Finals. Like, it's coming. It is. But, like, Today's is about the Knicks. That's what it's about. Gotham City. That's it.
Participation Kings. In today's Graham's Gambling, we will place bets for tonight's action and tell you who the way too early favorites to win next year's finals is. That's next on the Josh Graham Show.
A statement to start it off. The U.S. beats Paraguay and gives the nation something to believe in. Is their World Cup run just getting started? Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
When I hear this song, I think of the end of Hitch. That's a New York movie. When you think of New York anthems, you know what? Taking Frank Sinatra off the list. We're not including New York, New York. What are the top New York anthems? Because Go New York, Go New York, Go makes a lot of sense. You also could do New York State of Mind, Billy Joel.
I think about Empire State of Mind. Jay-Z.
Oh!
That's the and they were blasting it all over the place last night. That's the anthem right there.
Okay.
That's the one.
That is an answer. It's not better than Billy Joel. Let's start there. It's not better than Billy Joel. You don't want this fight, Will. You don't want it. Alicia Keys. Jay-Z, Empire State of Mind is not as good as New York State of Mind. Hence, the title being based essentially on the other song. Come on. It's not as good as Billy Joel. If you want this fight, you can have this fight, but I don't think you want this fight. 310-840-4910. Let's get to Graham's Gambling, where we are focused on Stanley Cup Finals Game 6 and looking ahead to next year's NBA odds.
Sitting back, count money all day, you know. It's time for Graham's Gambling. Let's make some money.
Yeah. Will Dalton, Knicks, first quarter didn't quite get there. But they did win outright. They did win plus the points. So it was a profitable evening, except for my Spurs 14-1 bet to win the finals from January officially dying. Here are the NBA futures for next year. Your favorite to win the 2027 NBA title, the San Antonio Spurs at plus 250, slightly by the slimmest of margins ahead of the Oklahoma City Thunder at plus 260. Then it's the Boston Celtics. Then it's the New York Knicks. Then you have a massive gulf between those four teams and whoever you deem to have the fifth best odds to win the Larry O'Brien. Do you buy those odds, or do you think it's disrespectful to the Knicks to have them fourth?
No, I don't think that's disrespectful. I really don't.
Hard to repeat. Hasn't been a repeat champion since the Warriors in 2017 and 2018. 8 straight titles won by 8 different teams. Really good for the NBA that's the case. Stanley Cup Finals Game 6. Will Dalton, we're hammering the Hurricanes team total over 3.5 goals. That's at plus 145 on DraftKings, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings. Hurricanes money line minus 115 too. I think they hoist Lord Stanley tonight. I think they win in 6. And that's not conspiracy, Josh. That's not Hurricane Josh, bias Josh. No, that's just an objective point of view on the Carolina Hurricanes. Think that they've solved the Las Vegas Golden Knights. There you go.
I think I'd take Vegas tonight. I think Vegas is going to push it to 7. I think they are.
I'm welcoming you into my house tonight to
I
watch
know.
this game, and
Yeah.
you're going to bet against the team that we're rooting for? Who are you, Brendan Sorsby?
I mean, listen. I took Vegas to win and money line game 1. I did that, and I took some flack for it from the local people here in Carolina. But hey, you the pockets want what the pockets want. You got to take loyalty out of it sometimes.
Okay. Graham's gambling for today. We are asking the question. 2026 has been the year of the improbable. A lot of crazy things have already happened. A lot of crazy things could happen the rest of the way. So you can either tell us what the craziest thing has been. Maybe it is the Knicks from last night. Or what is about to happen that might seem unexpected. 310-840-4910. Cato's in New Orleans. Cato, you're on the Josh Graham Show, Westwood One Sports, at 300 markets across the country. Cato, what do you got for us?
How you doing, Josh? What I got for you guys is the crazy thing I think that happened this year was the French Open, where the number 1 ranked Yannick Sinner didn't even have to deal with Carlo Alcaraz, but somehow he lost after being up 2-1 and 5-1 in the third set. He ended up losing the match. I think that was the craziest thing that happened in sports this year.
Are you a Sinner guy, or do you side with Alcaraz?
Oh, I'm an Alcaraz guy personally.
Oh yeah, so I'm right there with you. I'm not a huge Yannick Sinner fan, but obviously that was a big shocker, and I'm glad you added it to the list because we're trying to compile here. And thank you so much for the phone call, Cato. It's good to hear from you in New Orleans. Like, put the Yannick Sinner happening right there with Indiana winning a football national championship, Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl in a rout for good measure, the gold medal win for U.S. men's hockey, their first Olympic crown since 1980, Big Ten men's and women's basketball ending lengthy national title droughts, the Knicks ending their 53-year championship drought. It hasn't even been a full 6 months of this year, and that's what's already happened. So who knows what the final 6 months and change have in store for us. If we're trying to forecast crazy things that could happen the rest of the way, Will, how about the United States winning the World Cup on home soil? How good? Saw how good they looked
there
on Friday night.
Yeah.
That probably would take the cake. If the United States won the World Cup, that would be like the 1980 Miracle on Ice meeting the 1999 women's team winning on kicks to win the World Cup at the Rose Bowl. It'd just be both those things on steroids. Might be the biggest sports story of all time, frankly, if that's something that we see later this year. In the next month, if you will. If we're trying to forecast other things that could happen, how about looking at baseball, Will? Cleveland's having a really good year. The Milwaukee Brewers. Did you see what Jacob Mizorowski did on Friday night?
105. 105. Fastest pitch ever.
15 Ks, allowed one hit.
Yeah.
Complete game shutouts. Cleveland looks pretty good. It's been since 1948 since Cleveland has won the World Series. Milwaukee still has never won it all. Never. Haven't even been to the Fall Classic since 1982. So maybe one of those streaks could end in 2026 because this has been the year for it. Make sure if you haven't already, you're subscribed to the podcast. Search Westwood One Sports Night, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. The YouTube channel is how you can watch the show in addition to listening to it. Search Westwood One Sports Night. See West Coast in the comments, writing in. Oh, on my appearance, Josh has his hair on point for his all-nighter tonight. What is the plan, Will Dalton, on a Sunday night in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, if the Carolina Hurricanes win the Cup? Like, how should we be celebrating? I've got a 19-month-old son. Don't know if I'm interested in driving to Raleigh an hour and a half, especially after I've made that trip a number of times during the series already. So what can we do in the friendly confines of the Piedmont Triad of North Carolina to celebrate the Hurricanes win if they do win? Because you're coming over.
I am. I don't think there's any better North Kakalaka way to celebrate a title for the Canes if you're not in Raleigh than just going to Cookout and just letting it rip. Go
All
to
right.
Cookout and let it rip.
Mondo is tickled by that. He's like, yes, that's exactly what you
See,
should
he
do.
knows. He knows what's
Yeah,
up.
he knows ball. Just milkshakes, or are we delving into the menu and getting chicken quesadillas as a side and big double burgers?
I think you
got to
get the whole tray, man. You got to get the whole tray.
Yeah,
Get
I'm
it
gonna
all.
get a tray, and then I'm gonna frame it. I'm gonna get. You know how baseball players have they nail like Willie Mays Hayes nails his stolen base. For every stolen base, he'll nail the glove to his wall so he counts up his stolen bases. I'm gonna take the styrofoam container that tray is in tonight, and I'm gonna nail it to my wall and write kind of how it says Stanley Cup or first goal puck, first hit baseball. It's gonna say Stanley Cup tray. That's what it's gonna say. This is
I
the
think it's a good
tray
idea.
that I ate the night that the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup in 2006 or 2026. I think we're on to something. John Forsland, the radio voice of the Stanley Cup Final, is going to join us from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas about 20 minutes from now. But before we get to him, now that the NBA season's complete, the draft is about to take center stage. Thus, we must share our mock draft for the lottery with you. And that's next on The Josh Graham Show.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
The radio voice of the Stanley Cup Final is John Forsland, and he will join us from Las Vegas 20 minutes from now. Vegas has to win tonight on home ice to force a Game 7, or else the Carolina Hurricanes will be holding up Lord Stanley Cup. 8 p.m. puck drop. Another instance in sports where they say that it's starting at 8, but you can count on the game starting shortly after 8:15 Eastern Time. The NBA Finals wrapped up last night. The New York Knicks are champions. So how about we push things ahead? It's NBA draft season, guys, spelled S-Z-N. And it's time for us to do our mock draft 2.0. Give me 2, Utah. Give me 2. Mock draft 2.0. We're a week and a half away from the draft, and this is what we think is going to happen in the draft lottery. The number 1 pick belongs to the Washington Wizards. As that sound signifies, the pick's in. And the Wizards are going to take A.J. DeBonsa from BYU. don't think this is what they should do, because you know that Utah badly wants Tabonsa and would give you a lot in order just to move up that one pick. Don't think there's a lot of separation between players 1 through 4, but since they haven't moved the pick yet, that probably tells you all you need to know, that they plan to make the pick and that they plan to take AJ at number 1. So that is how this draft gets started. The number 2 pick belongs to the Utah Jazz. The pick is also in. Riding the wave, Will Dalton. Cameron Boozer Duke, the number 2 pick. Just think that. There's a reason his stock's climbing. Think he's the type of guy that Danny Ainge is going to fall in love with. And Ryan Smith probably views it as, wait a minute, this guy is the son of a great Utah Jazz player. Carlos Boozer's best NBA days were played in a Utah uniform. That's probably not lost on the management there, so it's an easy pick to market. He was the National Player of the Year and just a winner at every single stage. Sometimes you just don't need to overthink it. And I could see Danny Ainge looking at Cameron Boozer and saying, yep, love the way he passes the ball. Love having a ton of wings that can do all sorts of things in a basketball game. Number 3 pick, the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis selects Darren Peterson from Kansas. There are some red flags there, but he probably has the highest ceiling of any player in this draft, certainly among the guards. And if you're looking for a new face of your franchise, wanting to move off of Ja Morant as being so, Darren Peterson can give you a pretty clean break from that. The offensive skills are high level. Number 4 pick, the Chicago Bulls will race this into the NBA, turn in the card, race it to the front. They take North Carolina forward Caleb Wilson. While Darren Peterson has the highest ceiling in this draft, Caleb Wilson has the best physical skill set. He probably has the most athleticism. And here's the thing. Going to have a chip on his shoulder if he's taken 4th because he faced Darren Peterson. He faced Cameron Boozer. He faced AJ Tabonsa this past college season. And in all 3 instances, he was the better player on the floor in those games. Chicago drafting another superstar from North Carolina. Has that ever worked out for them in the past? Number 5 picks in. The Clippers benefiting from having Indiana's pick here. Another example where you just don't overthink it. Darius Acuff Jr. is a star. Best scorer in the country this year consistently. You take him. He looks like Trae Young 2.0. The Clippers could use that type of excitement alongside Kawhi Leonard, a guy who's ready to score right now. The defense isn't great. We acknowledge that. The tools, the physical tools aren't the greatest, but Darius Acuff can go off in the NBA right away, is an offensive star right away. Number 5 to LA. Number 6 pick, it's the Brooklyn Nets. This just seems like a team that cares a ton about what your physical traits are. Thus, they will not pass on Keaton Wagler out of Illinois. If you stand next to Keaton Wagler, you know exactly what we mean. But if you haven't, Keaton Wagler, 6'6", and about 190 pounds, 19 years old, a freak, a physical freak with the traits that are there. Took Illinois to the Final Four. A lot to like in Keaton Wagler. Number 7 pick, Sacramento Kings. Got Mikal Brown Jr. from Louisville going here. When you look at this draft, this is the way you need to think about it. You have the top 4 guys that we just noted, and then you got a group of 4 point guards that are in this next group and could go in whatever order. The top 4 have little separation. Acuff Jr., Keaton Wagler, Mikael Brown, and the guy we're going to get to in a second, you could put in whatever order you like too. Some think that Mikael Brown Jr. might have the highest ceiling of the point guards in this draft, and that's something that's tantalizing for a Sacramento team still on the rebuild. Number 8, it's the Atlanta Hawks, and this is an easy one. They need a point guard. Whichever of these 4 point guards is available in that spot, if they get their choice of 2, that's the best case Atlanta's going to take. In this case, it's Kingston Flemings from Houston. To quote the caretaker, or maybe it was the janitor, the old guy with the mustache in the Longest Yard remake, talking about Nelly's character and his running ability, he's so fast, he makes other people who are fast not look fast. Kingston Flemings is that. Out of Houston, any of these 4 point guards could end up being the best point guard of the bunch out of that 4. Atlanta will be happy with any of the 4 falling to them. Number 9, the Dallas Mavericks. Ooh. We'll see who their coach is. Rookie of the Year, Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving. This is a team that could use some shooting, but also wants another one of those foundational pieces. This is the perfect place for Braden Burries from Arizona to end up. Arizona went to the Final Four. He had the highest ceiling of any player on that team. He could shoot it. He has great tools. Just think that that's the right player, and this is the right team for Burries to end up at. Will Dalton, get excited. Number 10 pick is a trade. We got a trade. Oh. The Charlotte Hornets are moving up from the 14th pick, your Charlotte Hornets, up to the Milwaukee Bucks spot in exchange for the 14th and 18th picks. They want to get their guy out of Michigan, A.D. Mara.
Yeah.
A.D. Mara.
Some size.
They could use it. They move up to number 10 to get their guy that will hopefully help them get into the real playoffs for the first time in more than a decade. Number 11 pick. We're getting to the part of this draft where there are teams expecting to be in the playoffs. The Golden State Warriors, one of those. And they are going to be just thrilled that Michigan's Yaxel Lindeborg is available. This is a team trying to win right now. Yaxel Lindeborg is a first-team All-American, best player on a national title winner. That's exactly what Golden State should be looking to take with that number 11 draft pick. Number 11 pick, a guy who can help you right away. Number 12. This is the Oklahoma City Thunder's pick. We know how great they are. OKC's going to keep doing what OKC does. Finding players who are a bit projects but have incredible physical traits, and they're going to be very happy to take Nick Ament from Tennessee. Big man who can do a lot of things. Didn't fully show his ability because Tennessee was a loaded roster. That was an Elite 8 team for the 3rd straight year. Nick Ament from Tennessee and Rocky Top to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Got a couple more picks to go. Number 13, the Miami Heat. They need shooting, Will. Might as well take LeBaron Philon out of Alabama. If I'm trying to name the 5 greatest MCs of all time, I'm thinking dialing. If I'm trying to find the most efficient, high-volume shooter in this draft, I'm thinking Philon. If you get it, you get it. Good for you. LeBaron Philon, Alabama. That guy can just plain shoot, and Miami could use a shooter. The 14th pick belongs to the Milwaukee Bucks because they traded with the Charlotte Hornets. And Will, the pick is in. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to make it the 3rd Michigan Wolverine going in the lottery. Moretz Johnson, the pick, a fabulous draft combine he had, decided to keep his name in the draft wisely. He'll go in the combine, or in the lottery, pardon, to the Milwaukee Bucks in that 14 spot. That is the NBA Mock Draft 2.0. Less than 10 days away from the NBA Draft. This segment is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Will Dalton, how are you feeling about your North Carolina Tar Heels in the winner's bracket facing West Virginia, West by God Virginia, who has been the story in Omaha so far because they're in Omaha for the first time. They win their first game. They steal home plate in the first inning of their first game, and they're on pace to break the Rocco's Jello shot record across the street from TD Ameritrade or whatever they call it now in Omaha.
Yeah. What is it? I think it's Charles Schwab Field, though. The Chuck.
Charles the Chuck.
I came up with that one. I don't know if anybody calls it the Chuck. And by the way, we knew the West Virginia Jello shot thing. We already knew that was coming. As soon as they got
Let's go, Mountaineers. Let's go drink some beers. The Mountaineers right now, the most latest information to bring you, the last hour, they're about a couple hundred Jello shots away from 20,000. The record is a little over 60,000. And it's the first weekend. So a lot of time to get there. Who's next closest? Ole Miss at 8,165. Still more than 11,000 Jello shots off.
Yeah, Ole Miss. They're up against it against Troy right now. 9-7.
Oh, that didn't go
inning.
final yet?
No, they're 7th inning. Carolina, no, I'm feeling pretty good. They got a great pitching staff. Like Jason DeCaro the other night against Ole Miss, shoving it. Just great. Listen, Carolina needs to get it done. They've been to Omaha 13 times, and they don't have a chip to show for it. It's time. It's time.
Dialin'. I spit hot fire. And LeBaron Phylon shoots hot fire. Yeah, that's the problem with the Tar Heels. They get to Omaha, and I've just been desensitized to think that it's not going to happen for them. But all my college baseball nerds, they hit me up and say, this is the year. This is the year. They love this team. They're in a great college baseball darling. So, and if you win this game, you're in prime position to win it against certainly an SEC school on the other side, given that the entire side of the bracket is SEC teams. Kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Lord Stanley handed out tonight? The radio voice of the Stanley Cup Finals is our friend John Forsland, and he'll join us for a live visit from Las Vegas next on The Josh Graham Show.
Dial-on, because I spit hot fire.
The Hurricanes are one game away from lifting Lord Stanley's Cup and claiming their second title in franchise history. Can the Golden Knights keep their season alive? Game 6 is tonight. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
4-2 Carolina, looking to get one step away from a crack at the Stanley Cup. The shot goes off Bussey. 5 seconds left. 3 seconds. And that's all. So, the Carolina Hurricanes have won game number 5. They defeat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 and will play for the Stanley Cup Sunday in Las Vegas.
the radio voice of the Stanley Cup Final, John Forslund, Sports USA, in Las Vegas. He's going to be joining us momentarily. We'll be catching up with John, breaking down everything that we've seen in this insane finals up to this point. I'm Josh Graham, Westwood One Sports. Let's actually go to Vegas now, where Johnny is joining us. He's going to be on the call with Eddie Olczyk later tonight, 8 o'clock, puck drop shortly after 8 Eastern time. We could see the Stanley Cup presented tonight, and let's start there, Johnny. If the Carolina Hurricanes were to be awarded the Cup, what's the first story or aspect of this team that you think makes this team most special?
Well, as you know, Josh, it's great to be with you. You go back 20 years ago, and that team, very similar to this team, and from the coach and how he coaches, to the dynamic of the team, to their oneness, to their sense of culture and family, to the fact that they really were a team in that season that came from out of nowhere, won 52 games, which was a franchise record at the time. And still, people were not giving them their just due in the 2006 Stanley Cup playoffs into the Stanley Cup final. Same narrative this season for this group. And it's odd that Game 5 was their 68th win of the season, regular season and playoffs. And that's the amount of games the 2006 team won. So if they do it tonight, they'll need one more. If they do it Wednesday, they'll need one more. They'll be one better. And it's just an incredible story. And the way Brind'Amour played as a captain is the way Jordan Stahl's playing as a captain 20 years later. So it's remarkable. And you're right. This final has been compelling, historic. The swings of momentum have been unbelievable, incomparable. You come up with any word you want to use. If it's a superlative, it works. And that's exactly what we've seen.
Let's double click on the Brind'Amour piece of this. If the Canes clinch tonight, he will have captained, as you mentioned, the Hurricanes to a Cup win in 2006, led them to a head coaching Stanley Cup win, as well being the head coach of a Stanley Cup winner for the same franchise. Is there any precedent for how much Brind'Amour means to that organization, or any figure for that matter, meaning as much as Rod Brind'Amour means to their particular organization?
Well, listen to this and then you tell me. I don't recall a player of his level and his accomplishment retiring and becoming a head coach, not only in hockey, but in any of the four major sports, where that coach has not only, gone into the coaching profession, but has taken it to an elite level as a coach. So in the 8 seasons, this has been an unbelievable turnaround for the Carolina franchise. And as unbelievable as his playing career was, the same can be said for his coaching. So you look at all the greats, whether it be Ted Williams way back when, or Larry Bird, or all these great superstars who, put their toes in the water as head coaches, and some for different franchises. The thing about this is it's the same franchise. And so in the modern era, there's no one that has captained a team to a Stanley Cup and has then been the head coach of a team to even play in the final, never mind win it. There's a handful of people that did it back in the, post 4 rounds, post expansion 67. We haven't seen it, but this was all predated and way back when in NHL history, in the early stages of the NHL. So this is an unbelievable situation that we're watching here with him. And, he earns every bit of it. He earned every bit of his career, and the same thing. I saw him as an assistant coach when I was with the Hurricanes for 7 seasons. So I saw him do his diligence to think about becoming a head coach, watch others do it, learn, take the good, take the bad, and become what he is. I'm not surprised by any of this.
John Forslund, he is the radio voice of the Stanley Cup Finals, joining us here, Sport USA, having that broadcast later tonight. He's joining us from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Getting to the Vegas side of things, Vegas looks to prevent Carolina from holding up Lord Stanley, forcing a Game 7 Wednesday night. How do you separate what Vegas was for the first 74 games of the season prior to replacing the champion coach, Bruce Cassidy, with John Tortorella versus what level of dominance they've displayed for the better part of the last 2 months?
Well, you know, they were a decent team most of the year, but obviously below bar and below expectation for what they thought. And many people thought they'd run away with their division, and it was a dogfight. And it got down to, you know, in the end of March and in April, where their management looked at the situation and said, you know, this isn't a good thing. This is a situation where, never mind, we might not win the Pacific Division, but the Golden Knights were looking at it and saying we might not make the playoffs. So the biggest thing that happened for them was the goaltending of Carter Hart at the end of the season. He joined the team, as you know, as a free agent. Adin Hill and Akira Schmid had the net all year. They couldn't get any saves whatsoever. Their goaltending was really in trouble most of the season. So there's an old saying that, you know, great goaltending makes a great coach. And so Bruce Cassidy, who is a tremendous coach and won the Cup here in 23 and has did a phenomenal job with this organization, you know, his message started to grow thin with many of their players. They were tired of it, and he is a demanding coach. He had a few things to say about the way they were playing, put a lot of pressure on their top end, and I'm not going to say it was rebellious, but there was a deaf ear. I think that's fair to say that. Enter John Tortorella, equally a legend and a guy who comes in like no other time in his career as a father figure, as a positive Torts, as a guy who wasn't responsible for the training camp or the regular season or any of the sores they had as a group. It was just him coming in to say, hey, guys, it's me. I don't know you. I know maybe a couple of you from the Olympics, but not really well. I had the goalie in Philadelphia. I'm going to put my trust in him, and let's see if we can make this happen. And that psychological twist worked, and they had an incredible 7-0-1 run at the end of the season, which led them into a Utah win in round one, Anaheim win in round two, and then a 4-game sweep of the President's Trophy, Colorado Avalanche, which no one saw coming. So, you know, that's how they did it. But through it all, there was this good team with tremendous talent, a real good defensive system that they learned under Butch Cassidy. And I believe there's 11 guys that'll play tonight. Riley Smith, if he draws into the lineup, that'll make it 12, who won the Cup here in 23. So that pedigree's not too old.
John Tortorella was asked if he considered making a goaltending change in the third period of Game 5 and responded in a very Torts way, saying, that's maybe the stupidest question I've ever been asked. And I just need John Forsland, perhaps, to translate that for us, looking at the goaltending situation where Carter Hart is a big part of the reason why Vegas is in this position. Yep. But no goalie had ever made 4 starts in the Stanley Cup final, allowing 4 goals or more in those starts, and he's done it in 5 games in this series. What buttons does John Tortorella really have to press at this point in net?
But just to put further trust, and erase more questioning. And I feel bad for the reporter. I know who it was, and he's a great young reporter, and it was an appropriate question. And Torts answered it like Torts would in that public forum. Torts probably, I don't know if he did this, probably went and apologized, because I know John Tortorella very well, and I think he would have done that, you know, away from everybody. That's neither here nor there. The bottom line is he's got to coach his team. He's got to reinforce the confidence in Carter Hart, erase all questioning in the 2 days that followed, because there was a 2-day separation between Game 5 and 6. And then everybody understands that it is Carter Hart's net, and that's the way it's going to be, and he's earned that. As far as his play, okay, so he had almost a 95 save percentage in the third round against Colorado. Yes, his numbers have slipped. And yes, even by his own admission, he's not at the level that he expected to be, but he's been decent. He needs to be heroic in this game, probably. But when you look at the 5th game, the Stahl goal, the first goal was a tip. The second goal, Svechnikov, was a screenshot. The third goal was a backdoor play to Aho. He makes a tremendous play on a line change. He's coming weak on the weak side, and there's no defensive recognition, and it's really not on Hart. Most players would have fumbled that puck. Aho did not. It was in his skates. He dug it out. He chipped it over his shoulder. And the fourth goal was a miraculous pass from Ehlers to Svechnikov, another power play goal on the back door. I don't think he's at at fault for any of the four, but it is 4. So it's been 4+ in this series in every game against for Carter Hart. Those numbers don't lie. He needs to be better. They don't have a choice. You're not going to Adin Hill in the 6th game, after all of this, based on how he played in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
At least Carolina makes a goalie change, and Brandon Bussey had 31 wins in 39 appearances in the regular season. So you can see that. Going to Adin Hill now, even though he was a cup-winning goalie in 23, that's a long time ago hockey-wise. There's no way they're going to him.
How many names, John Forsland, do you think are in consideration at this point for the Conn Smythe Trophy awarded each year to the playoff MVP?
It's Mitch Marner if Vegas wins. It's Jordan Stahl if Carolina wins for me, and that's it. I even if somebody, say Jack Eichel, goes crazy tonight and has a legacy game, and they go back to Raleigh Wednesday and the same thing happens, I still think Marner's got 29 points, and if they do win the next 2 games, he's going to finish with 33, 34 points, I'm sure. And as far as Stahl is concerned, to me, he doesn't have to do anything else, other than win. So if they win tonight and his goal scoring streak, he scored in every game in the final, as you know, it's a record. He's tied with some of the great legends of hockey. But anyway, if he doesn't score tonight, for me, he still wins because he's their leader. And he has shown up in so many ways that don't factor into statistics to get him here. So now he's getting recognized a lot because of his goal scoring, but it's really a byproduct of who he is. So if Carolina does win tonight or Wednesday, my vote, if I don't get one, Josh, but if I did, it would be Jordan Stahl.
You getting the call, the national radio call for the Stanley Cup final, is a recognition of who you are as well, which is the best in the game and also a great friend as well. Thank you for joining us on this new venture for us on Westwood One Sports, and I hope we can do it again sometime soon.
Always available. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Josh. Good luck with the new venture. You've earned it, and keep up the great work.
Love that. There's John Forsland. He'll be on the call with Eddie Olczyk tonight for the Stanley Cup Final, Game 6. The Carolina Hurricanes looking to close things out. There goes Johnny. Glad to hear from him in Las Vegas. Make sure, if you haven't already, you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and to the podcast on YouTube at Westwood One Sports Night is where you can watch the show in addition to listening to it. The podcast feed, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you find us. That's how you support the program. You can listen back to whatever you might miss, including great guests such as John Forsland right there. Will Dalton, have you seen the newest rumor in the NBA today? I'm chocked full of movie quotes from the 2000s. Rumors? I love rumors. All over the board, too. I guess we've done 90s, too. We're at Clerks. We're at Chappelle Show. We're at Inglourious Bastards. Trying to think what else. Major League has made an appearance so far in the show. Bill Simmons, not reporting, Bill Simmons says he expects Giannis to be a Celtic in the next week.
Get out of here. Really?
Miami and Boston seem to be the two front runners right now to land Giannis. Bill is a Celtics fan, but before you start saying, oh, it's Homer Bill coming out, he says he would prefer for them not to land Giannis. He'd rather try to figure it out with Tatum and Brown because he believes in order to complete a trade like this, you're going to have one of those guys in the trade.
And it's probably going to be Brown, I would imagine.
You would think.
Huh.
Just throwing that out there.
When they had a really good performance from a big man in Porzingis a few years back, that's when they won the title. Of course, that was with Brown and Tatum. I don't know what it looks like with just Tatum and then Giannis and no Brown, but that's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. The NBA season ended, but then we got that to figure out in the next week, and then you got the draft. By the way, while we're talking about movies, you ever hear what Mondo said that the draft sounds like? You know, the chimes that play during the NFL and the NBA draft. We were just doing our mock draft a short while ago. Mondo didn't recognize that sound at first, and his immediate reaction was, oh, this sounds like the chimes in Harry Potter.
Oh my.
Wow. Oh, hold one sec. I need that music still. Hold one sec. AJ DeBonsa, you're a wizard.
Oh, that's terrific. I'm not going to be able to unhear
You're a wizard, AJ. You're a wizard. Coming up, further evidence that you simply can't deny a team of destiny. Keep it here on the Josh Graham Show.
In Omaha, there's no tomorrow. The College World Series, where dreams are realized and seasons come to an end. Hear every pitch, every historic moment on the Westwood One Sports app. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
The NBA Finals are a wrap. And we're breaking it all down here on the Josh Graham Show. The New York Knicks, plain and simple, were a team of destiny. You do not get in the way of destiny. You don't deny teams of destiny. In this case, the Knicks ending the 53-year drought, the title drought that seemed like it was going to last forever, that once it ended led to the city that never sleeps living up to that title. All the social media videos and things that we saw from the Big Apple, just absolutely insane. But keeping it with the basketball, this is a team of destiny for no other reason than the path it took for them to win this championship. Look no further than that. The stars aligned in a way you can't ignore. After dispatching Atlanta in round one, New York drew Philadelphia in round two. That's rather than the Boston Celtics. Remember, when Jason Tatum returned, the Celtics were viewed as the heavy favorites to win the Eastern Conference. Instead, you get the Sixers, who you sweep. You have home court in that series. In the conference finals, the Knicks drew the Cavaliers. You get Cleveland rather than top-seeded Detroit. That means, once again, you have home court advantage. And in this case, you get the Cavaliers coming off consecutive 7-game series and clearly being out of gas. In the finals, you get San Antonio rather than OKC. As a veteran team, New York benefited greatly by facing the super inexperienced Spurs rather than getting the reigning champion Thunder. It also benefited the Knicks to enter the finals rested while Wemby just got done playing a 7-game war with the Thunder. The way New York won in these playoffs, you can't attribute it to much else other than destiny. A 51-point closeout win in Atlanta, not just beating the Sixers, but sweeping them. A 22-point comeback in the fourth quarter against Cleveland in Game 1 of the Eastern Final. The record 29-point rally in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. This here might be the craziest stat you hear today. Not only did the Knicks trail by double digits in all 5 of the NBA Finals games, they also had the first, third, and fifth greatest comebacks in finals history, all in the same series. If that's not a team of destiny, what is? Because of all of this, it's hard to overstate this Knicks championship team. If you want to call Jalen Brunson the greatest Knick of all time, you can. Here was Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe having that exact argument after the game went final last night. We'll get to that sound in just a second. 310-840-4910, by the way. With the Knicks in mind, the question we're asking is, what's the craziest thing that's happened in sports this year? We're not even 6 months in, and we've had Indiana win a football title. Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl in a rout. USA Hockey win a gold medal. The Big Ten win basketball titles on both the men's and the women's side, something that hadn't happened for either sport since the year 2000. And now the New York Knicks winning the NBA Finals. Now I think we have that quote. Here was Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe. This sound courtesy of the Bill Simmons podcast, having the argument about Jalen Brunson being the greatest Knick.
This Brunson thing, we were talking about all-time Knicks, talking about, could it be the greatest Knick of all time? I'm not ready to have that conversation yet, but
Why
this
not?
is one. Well, I guess we could, because this was one of the great final performances.
I mean, this is right up your wheelhouse. Is Jalen Brunson the greatest underdog story in the history of basketball? Like, small guard, second-round pick, doubted every step of the way, free agency signing, lukewarm to negative reception, and he is now scoring 45 points in a decisive finals game and winning finals MVP. I mean, I don't even know. I'm trying to think, like, who else is even in the conversation?
So if you want to call it the greatest Knick basketball player ever, Jalen Brunson, fine. If you want to call it the greatest New York sports team ever, go right ahead. 13-game winning streak, going 16-3 the whole postseason. Ian O'Connor called it that last night, one of the great New York sports writers. See, that's the conversation we should be having, rather than pile on the young favorites that got to the finals and got past the champion Thunder in their first playoff appearance for most of those guys. We should be celebrating a deserving champion in the Knicks and a deserving fan base that has waited a very long time. 310-840-4910. Paul is in Rhode Island. Paul, you're on the Josh Graham Show, Westwood One Sports. How are you reacting to this?
I know you always support me. I'm a lonely man in Rhode Island, the Ryan Russo. But I'm going to tell you right now, these guys had venom in their veins of 53 years. And I'm going to tell you, this ain't the Celtics. This ain't the Lakers. The passion, I'm telling you, the passion that they put in, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Now, as far as the U.S. men's soccer team, listen, does it pay off when the parents give all this money to these academies and later on it pays off and you're playing in number one teams in Europe? Yes, it does. I know they own you. I know you're not going to go to high school. I know you're not going to college. You're going to get tutored. But isn't it worth it to see that type? Embrace
How much
it,
crazier
man.
would a
Embrace it.
U.S. World Cup win be than anything else we've seen this year? Indiana winning a football title, Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl in a rout.
Yeah.
Now the Knicks
yeah.
winning the finals. Is it top of everything?
3 months, I've been telling you, the Knicks need glory. New York needs glory. And it ain't Josh Allen. It ain't none of those New York teams. But you know what? The U.S. men's national team, they are they're so in shape because of the type of program they use in these big teams in Europe that Uruguay, they were skunked. I'm telling you, they were skunked. And they come from a South American country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you, man. Paul, enjoy the World Cup. I'm watching it right now. There goes Paul in Rhode Island. Japan and the Netherlands, crazy back and forth match. Japan just tied it up in the 88th minute. Craziness that's going on right now in the World Cup today, game 2 of 4. Bill's in Ohio. Bill, your reaction to what we saw, the Knicks winning it all.
Again, I think it's more of a storyline than anything. Sports have gone to storylines. It's more of entertainment now, like wrestling. It just seems like everything's played out for a reason. Doesn't seem like this is actually happening in real life. It just doesn't make sense.
You're saying that last night was fixed. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that this has been occurring lately to where there are storylines. It doesn't seem like they're games, like switching up plays just to see it happen, like they did the Cavs. That didn't make any sense. The 22-point comeback.
So are you saying
your
it's
game-winning shot wasn't
real
with your best
competition or it's
player?
not? What are you saying exactly?
I'm saying it's not real. I'm saying it's a storyline. It's all
You're
about
saying
betting
it's
and
fixed.
gambling.
That's
I'm
what you're
saying fixed. 100%.
Well, here's what I'll
fixed.
say in response to that.
do you
Why
think?
don't we hear about it? Why don't we hear about it then? I mean, think about how many people would be in the know, would have to be in the know in order for that to happen. And why wouldn't it get out? Because whoever would tell us about it would then become the most famous person in the country. And isn't that the greatest currency in America? Like, why wouldn't it have gotten out?
I think it hasn't gotten out because of that.
Why were the Knicks? I mean, television owns all the money. Why did the TV networks let the Knicks sweep, and also the other Stanley Cup series, the Colorado series sweep, where they have to throw McAfee at the last second on TV because they don't have any programming? If it's fixed, why haven't the Cowboys won anything in 30 plus years, or Notre Dame since '88?
Well, I mean, if you want to go into the different other sports, but yeah, I mean, just say the Cowboys, like America's greatest team, like they don't want them to win. They want them just to everybody to keep hoping to bet.
But why
that
is
they win.
that good business? You think
good
Seattle
business.
winning in a blowout in the Super Bowl is smart business? Let's have that be a blowout in the Super Bowl. That's
Why wouldn't
smart.
they? Yeah,
What,
because
you wouldn't want a
look at
more
the
entertaining
storyline.
game?
Go to the storyline. The storyline is that they were going to have to sell the team. The owner was dead and pass it on to his sister. They go to the storyline. That's what I'm saying. Look at these storylines. Look at the value of that team now that they even won the Super Bowl.
Bill, I have a character
They don't
on
win
the
the
show.
Super
Appreciate
Bowl,
the
then
call
how
from
much is that
Ohio.
team
I'm
worth?
up against it. But I have a character on this show called Conspiracy Josh, and I don't even think he would go there. See, that's my issue with the whole thing. Oh, it's fixed. Look at the results. Too many people would have to know. Hour 3 of the show's next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
I've been jumpy today, Will Dalton. The vocal capacity isn't where we want it to be. And that's before my team has a chance to win the Stanley Cup. I'm a Carolina Hurricanes fan. I almost fist fought Mondo during the break because he asked if I was a real Hurricanes fan or a bandwagoner. I've been on this train since 2005. You're welcome on it. You're happy to hang. Then we got folks suggesting that sports are fixed, including the NBA result with the Knicks winning it all. That's always good fun. And, you know, it's expected when you see what 2026 has been. It's been the year of the impossible. Indiana wins a football title. Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl in a rout. Michigan wins its first title since the 80s. The Big Ten hadn't won a basketball title in either men's or women's basketball since 2000, and they won on back-to-back days in those sports. U.S. hockey beat Canada for a gold medal. That hadn't happened since the Miracle on Ice in 80, the United States winning it all. And now the New York Knicks. So what's the craziest thing we've seen this year? So far, not even half finished. What's the craziest thing that can happen the rest of the way? 310-840-4910. Continuing to get some reaction to what we've seen. I don't think you can overstate this Knicks team. You want to say Jalen Brunson's the greatest Knick ever? Sure. You want to say it's the greatest New York championship team? You can do that too. Ian O'Connor's making that case, the great author and sports writer from the state of New York. Denny is in Niagara Falls. He wants in on that. Denny, what do you have for us on the Josh Graham Show on Westwood One Sports?
How you doing, Josh? I grew up down there, and I spent most of my young adult life, and I've been up in Western New York now for about 30 years. I can say, just in my lifetime of watching ball or watching all sports, the Yankees 1998 team was the best New York sports team that I've seen. Maybe the ones in the 50s and the 27 Murderers Row, perhaps.
Yeah.
But they won 114 games. They went 11-2 in the playoffs, and they swept the Padres in the World Series. That was the best team that I've ever seen. But what basically happened this weekend, especially with Brunson, is he's got himself in Derek Jeter status right now. As far as I'm concerned, as much as I love Aaron Judge, he's actually eclipsed Aaron Judge because Aaron Judge hasn't won anything yet. I mean, yes, he's got, home run titles and stuff
What
like that.
What does the New York Pantheon look like? On that note, who are the greatest or the most popular state of New York athletes this century? Is Jalen Brunson ahead of Eli Manning? Is Jalen Brunson ahead of Derek Jeter? Because there isn't a real split in New York. Because you have Yankees, Mets, and you have Giants, Jets. With respect to the Nets, man, bars. I don't think there's a real split between the Knicks and Net fans, are there? Everybody likes Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. Honestly, from a popularity standpoint, Jeter, Mattingly, and Brunson right there, then I would say Judge now. Even though Mattingly never won it, probably if he stuck around for a year, he may have, if they kept him as a DH, but his back gave out. But those are the guys, at least in my lifetime, okay? Mickey Mantle, of course, players like that. Even Patrick Ewing, a lot of people like Patrick Ewing. If you talk about, even a lot of teams on the, like the Rangers when they won with Messier, even though I know Messier had played with Edmonton.
Yeah, you got to win. I think most Knick fans would say Frazier and Willis Reed before saying Patrick Ewing, with all due respect.
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I'm just talking in my lifetime, guys that I watched play.
Sure.
I was actually born in about 4 months after that tells you how long ago it was. I'm 53. I was born about 4 months after the last won a title. So, I had never seen it. And I'll be honest with you. I had open heart surgery about 4 years ago. God willing, everything's great. And I plan on living another 20, 30 years. But, man, I remember those dismal James Dolan days. I mean, look at it. Charles Oakley had to go watch them, win a title, but he's not even allowed in the arena. I mean,
then tell me this. Knick fans are everywhere. Knick fans are everywhere, Denny. And last night, I'm walking outside, walking my dog before we go to bed, and I smell cigar smoke. And it's a neighbor here in North Carolina, a couple houses down, just happens to be a huge New York Knicks fan, says that he loves the Jets, loves the Nets, or Mets, and loves the New York Knicks. And he's only seen one title in his life. This is number 2. And he was smoking a cigar out on his porch. They're everywhere. How did you celebrate?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, what was crazy is I went out to celebrate with my wife, and so I DVR'd the game. And, of course, somebody from work texted me and kind of spoiled it. So I literally went home last night from 12 to 2:15 in the morning, and I just watched it. I watched it. My wife fell asleep, and I could not wait until the next morning. But, it's very hard now with your phone and everything to stay off and not see it. But, look, I know you got other callers. You got a great show. But what I did want to say was my daughter works for the Hurricanes, and I was actually at the game, one of the games against Montreal. Yes, she does. And I'm up here in Western New York now. Yes, she works for the Canes. We were hoping the Sabres were going to end up playing them instead of Montreal, but Montreal ended up beating the Sabres. But I was down there. But listen, I'm rooting for the Sabres. I root for the Bills because I've been up here 30 years. You said the craziest thing that's going to happen, the Bills winning the Super Bowl would be the craziest thing that would happen.
That
you
would
said
be
it's one of those
crazy.
Years, but I am rooting for the Canes, man, because if it's not going to be the Sabres, of course I'm going to be allegiant to my daughter's employer, and I'm telling you, it's an incredible environment.
If it goes 7, I'd love to meet her on Wednesday night. That sounds outstanding. And thank you so much for the call. That's awesome, Denny.
Thank you so much.
There goes Denny in Niagara Falls. Will Dalton, is this the part where you say the 2009 Yankees were better than the 98 Yankees? Is that what you're about to do? Since you're a Yankee snob and also,
no,
if it didn't happen in your lifetime, then it didn't happen?
No, that's not the part where I say that. Although I will say, I mean, that team didn't have A-Rod on it, but that's neither here nor there. To his point though about Jeter, let's win a few more titles before we get to that point. Let's do it. But he has eclipsed Judge. Hey, he has eclipsed Aaron Judge. I will give him that because Aaron has not gotten it done when it mattered in the playoffs a lot of the time.
By the way,
and he certainly
the Carolina
hasn't won a chip.
Hurricanes are winning the Stanley Cup tonight. Vegas has been exposed. Carter Hart's a problem. He's not good. He's not good. He allows 4 goals in every single game. Carolina is good. Vegas wasn't good when they fired their coach with 8 games to go in a desperation move, bringing Tortorella in for Bruce Cassidy. And now William Karlsson's hurt, not going to return in the series. Sorry, Carolina, they're just a better team. Best record in the East. 8th straight postseason appearance, knocking on the door year after year. 15-3 in these playoffs. Vegas is outmatched. Carolina's going to get it done. I just need to know how to celebrate later. You're going to come over to my place. Apparently, we're going to go to Cookout. That's going to be the move after the fact here in North Carolina. Let's go to Dave, who's in Baltimore. 310-840-4910 if you want in. Dave, how are you taking in the Knicks win and looking at some of the crazy things we've seen this year?
Hey, Josh, I love the energy of the show, man. My observation right quick. Several people have problems with municipalities building athletic arenas and stadiums and this kind of thing. How much do you pay for what the people in New York City are feeling right now? Put a price tag on that.
Yeah, you could put some numbers on it, too, in the way of how many robberies, arrests, stabbings, and gunshots were fired in New York last night. I think only 1 shooting, so that's good. We got that going for us.
That's one athletics, and especially if your team is winning a national championship or a world championship, it just uplifts the whole idea of citizenship in your city. I'm from Baltimore. We've had 2 world champions in football, and I'm telling you, if you've never experienced that, it is really, really
you should know
something.
this, Dave. I am a diehard Carolina Hurricanes fan. They have the chance to win the Stanley Cup tonight. I have 2 teams that I root for diehard. I grew up in North Carolina. I live in North Carolina, and it's the Canes. Love the Canes, but I was born in Baltimore, and the Orioles are my other team. When are we going to get that baseball title? Just need to know, because today against the Padres wasn't it. Neither was yesterday. Just need to know the answer to that. Thanks, Dave. Don't think that's a question that I have the answer to or Dave in Baltimore does. What are you smiling about?
As the Yankee fan that I am, it just makes me happy hearing you.
Let's go to Dave in
about
Tampa.
the Orioles.
Let's just go to Dave. Let's just go to Dave in Tampa. Dave, where are you on the craziness that's happened so far this year and what might happen the rest of the way? All these crazy things have happened. We're not even 6 months complete through 2026.
No, Josh, I'm really glad you brought it up because hindsight, man, it was like home run after home run. But, I mean, even the Hurricanes became relevant. Let's throw that in there. But I'm going to go with this, Josh. As far as the freakiness, let me give you 2 athletes in the middle of this. Let's just say this year, this Caitlin Clark, what she's accomplished in Ohtani.
Yeah.
This is 2 freakish athletes right in the middle of all this craziness going on.
Why is Caitlin Clark compared to Shohei Ohtani exactly?
Well, no, she's compared to Curry, Ohtani, Babe Ruth.
Okay. Oh, well, I mean, the Ohtani piece makes sense. Curry, I suppose. And, yeah, it's fun to watch, and the WNBA is getting more platforms, Sunday night broadcast on ESPN, and you have the Amazon stuff, too. I like it. Thanks for the call, Dave. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and we got Mondo here, who's a huge L.A. Dodger fan. Or wait, are you the one guy who works over there that actually isn't diehard Dodgers? I forget.
Pretty sure he has a Dodgers hat on.
I'm Dodger blue, all through and through. Since I was a baby. I have baby pictures with me in Dodger gear, so don't get me started.
Well, no. Not you live in Los Angeles. Not gonna push back on that altogether. I just didn't know if it was a diehard following. Like, how did you celebrate the last 2 World Series wins? Did you do anything that night? Did you go to In-N-Out? Like, what'd you do?
No, I didn't go to In-N-Out. No, the first time I was at a friend's house watching the game, and then the second time it was just at home, bunch of fireworks, because I knew it was going to be crazy. So just wanted to watch at home and get the full feel. But
yeah. Well, I got some buffalo chicken dip, and Will Dalton is coming over to my house. If you could figure out a way to get to my home in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Mondo, of course you're welcome. If you want some buffalo dip, you're welcome to have some. There is some nerves because Will Dalton, actually, nerves not the word. Excitement's the word. And the bird is the word, for those who know. But it's a win-win for yours truly tonight. Really. If the Hurricanes win tonight, well, then my team's Stanley Cup champs. If they lose tonight, well, guess what? I am going to Game 7 Wednesday night in Raleigh.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the
you
most
win either way,
nerve-wracking
honestly.
experience of my life.
So I tell you, if I were you, I'd rather watch them win in a Game 7 in person on home ice.
Shut up.
If I were in your shoes. What do you mean?
You
Get to
want
witness
my
it?
team? You want me to root against the Canes tonight so I could go to a Game 7? That's what you're saying?
Maybe.
That's ridiculous.
You're
You're not a Canes fan if you say that.
To witness it. To get to see
Selfish.
it with your own eyes.
You're selfish.
Yes.
That's what you are.
That would be
care
selfish
about
for
the
you.
team. I care about the team, Will. I want the team to win. I don't
And
want
you
them to
wouldn't wanna
lose.
see it?
You are not a real Canes fan. You're not.
Oh, God.
You are one of the bandwagoners that Mondo's referring to.
I'm not a
because
bandwagon.
You're betting against them tonight, and you just said that if you had credentials to Game 7 or tickets, you would prefer they lose Game 6 just so you could go to a Game 7 where they could lose.
I have been a Canes fan since 2019, so I don't want to hear that. Die hard. I started to really
not that.
follow it in 2019.
Well, that makes you also a bandwagoner because that's right
I just
after
didn't watch it
they
very
went
close.
9 straight years of missing the playoffs. You're here when they start going to the playoffs again. I was here through the entire drought, Will.
I just didn't
It's
watch,
real to me,
watch
damn
hockey as
it.
closely. I'm just saying I would want to witness it with my own 2 eyes. Like if the Yankees...
Let's go. We have a guest on the way. Let's go to Gino real quick in Edmonton. Gino, last up before we get to the call or get to our next guest. Gino, what do you have for us in Edmonton?
Hey, how are you, Josh? I have a 2006 Hurricane Stanley Cup hat. Are you interested in it?
In Edmonton?
Yes,
For those who don't
I
know,
had
the
to wear it
Hurricanes
for a
beat the
whole
Oilers
year.
that year.
I had to wear it for a whole year because my Oilers lost, and I had a bet with my friend down in Hickory. So
you know what?
I saved it, and then all of a sudden I hear how great you love them. So I'll trade
Can I tell you a
for
story real
Oilers.
quick? So you have a 2006 Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricanes hat. You still have that. I hear that,
Official
right,
one.
Gino?
Sent
Okay.
to me from
Look,
Pepsi
Gino,
Cola.
here's a story. Can I tell you a story real quick?
Sure.
I think you'll appreciate this. And the answer is yes. We need to figure out a way. I want the hat. Like,
Okay.
I'll have you put on hold, and we can figure out a way for me to get the hat. And I'll tell you why, because of this story, okay? I got an official 2006 Stanley Cup champion hat, like you're describing, and I got the entire team to sign it. And then a few years later, 2009, the Hurricanes were in a Game 7 where they were losing to Marty Brodeur and the Devils 2-1, and they score a goal with a minute 50 to go to tie it, and then score 30 seconds later to win it. And I ran around the restaurant I was at, lost a sandal, lost the hat, never saw the hat again. So I don't have my 2006 Stanley Cup champion Carolina Hurricane hat. And it would be great to have one sent from, of all places, Edmonton. That'd be pretty nice.
Well, if you bet on the Oilers next year, I'll just trade you. But
You know, that's a good idea.
Like,
But
I
if you
have
stay
about
on hold,
1,000
I will give you an address to send that hat, and then I'll wear it on our video stream. We'll do it.
Well, I got about 1,000 hats, and I'm 70 years old. I got all kinds of stuff, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to wear this, and I know somebody would appreciate it more than me.
All right. We'll get that information for you in a second. Stay
cool.
on hold.
Well,
That's outstanding.
I'm Hurricane, and I've got my TV on and my beer on ice, and I'm ready to rock and roll here for you guys.
Canadians are the best. I love it. There's Gino in Edmonton. Stay on hold. We'll get to you in a second. Last year, a beloved college football coach passed away at 50 years old. That coach's name was Sean Clark. His wife, Janelle, is trying to turn his tragic death into something positive, and the football world's getting behind her. Janelle Clark will tell us all about it next on The Josh Graham Show.
A statement to start it off. The U.S. beats Paraguay and gives the nation something to believe in. Is their World Cup run just getting started? Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes.
It is the Josh Graham Show, where in more...
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
It is the Josh Graham Show, where in more than 15 years of doing this, there is a very small list of sitting head coaches that I consider a close friend. Most relationships they're friendly, they're professional, but never more than that. But a notable exception to the list was our guy, App State head coach Sean Clark. When my son was born, he was one of the first phone calls I received. I was still in the hospital. Within a week, Daniel had black and gold gear. During the holidays every year, he'd text me a photo of his TV screen showing that he was watching Christmas Vacation. He loved that movie. A terrific coach, a better man. Unfortunately, we lost Coach Clark last year, way too soon at 50 years old. And in an effort to carry on his legacy, his wife, Janelle, has created the 61 Initiative, and nearly 50 FBS programs across the country have already committed to it. Janelle Clark is kind enough to be with us now. Janelle, let's start here. What are these high-level college football programs committing to exactly with the 61 Initiative?
Oh, good. Thank you. That's a great question. They are committing to identifying, so they understand and they are aware that they need to prioritize the physical and mental wellness of coaches in this profession. We'll say all coaches, but I'm going to start with college football coaches because they have my heart. And we are saying that, it starts at the top and they're the tip of the sword, and they're saying, hey, listen, we are going to prioritize this. We treat our players very well. They're purebred Kentucky Derby horses, and we take the the back stall. And I think that it's really important that they realize that their health and wellness and emotional health and wellness are also important.
What's a simple, specific step football programs could take to ensure they're prioritizing the health of their coaching staffs?
So as we stated, and this is our flagship year, so we said at this initial year, we just want head coaches to adhere to mandating physicals for their coaching staff, support staff, QCs, GAs, the guys that are leading men. So we just ask for a physical. Someday, eventually, I'd like to get to a little bit more with some screenings that I think are pretty important. But right now, just committing to a physical, I think is very, very important for the awareness, spreading the awareness. Some of the bigger schools are going ahead and running blood panels along with that physical, which I think is just brilliant and so smart. And I'm learning from them. And these guys are finding markers, and they are finding that they need to either change some lifestyle pieces or they need to get on some medications and change their lifestyle piece. And it just makes me really happy that we're doing everything we can in the prevention piece of it.
Janelle Clark is with us here. 61 Initiative, Sean Clark Family Foundation as well. We're learning too at the same time, Janelle, because I would have just assumed that coaches get physicals every year. How much does it surprise you to learn that's not the case?
It really does. I know that's never been the case as far as we've been in it. And, it's really a hassle. It's really a push to get the husbands to, do anything besides their their jobs because they don't have time. Quote, they don't have time. I don't have time. So, you know, when they're out of the office, they're with their families because they don't get to see their family much. And then when they're not, it's just they don't have the extra time to take the extra step. And that's why we call it Take One More Minute. So that's why it's the 61 initiative. Besides the fact that it was Sean's football number in college, it just kind of all worked out, right? Like, I think that's, you know, the Lord's plan, but it was 61, you know, take the one extra minute. There's 60 minutes in a game. So no, many don't. Many do it every now and then, every so often, every few years. But we've talked to a lot of coaches and they say, absolutely, we will absolutely do that. Some already do. And we've been very fortunate to have those programs say, we are going to do it in honor of Sean, and we want to be part of this initiative for awareness.
In terms of your husband's football legacy, a lot of people will remember across the country when App State, yes, beat Michigan 2 decades ago, but knocking off Texas A&M, a top 10 team, when he was the head coach in 2022, and then having College Game Day visit Boone, North Carolina, and winning the game on a Hail Mary. That's a piece of it from a national perspective. The entire nation also saw as well when there was a hurricane to hit Western North Carolina, Helene 2 years ago in 2024, specifically hitting Boone. You're being privy to a lot of what happened behind the scenes, living in Western North Carolina. Coach Clark, he helped out with the Salvation Army and helped out with a handful of others too. From your end of it, telling people about your husband and his initiative here, what are you most proud of from his coaching legacy?
Sean has, I could say that I knew it a long time ago, but I knew I married a good man. I didn't know the kind of servant leader and good man that he would grow into. For some of those efforts, I will brag on him because I can, and say that he was awarded the Longleaf Pine Award from Governor Stein in the state of North Carolina. And I think a lot of that had to do with just being a leader, but in the same, you know, doubling down on those efforts during the hurricane and being a piece of the relief and a piece of the fix instead of a piece of the problem and an excuse. And so he took a lot of that on himself. And so he was just that's all he wanted to do was help. He'd wake up in the morning, our daughter, our son, like we would go and we would help at the local churches. And that meant so much to Sean. And I'd say, oh, people across the country think this, or they think it's, and they said, that's not what this is about. This is bigger than that. And so the fact that they beat Texas A&M, I'll go back to that in 2022, that was after NIL. That was after a lot of the, you know, you could have some upsets more often back before that 2021 year. And the fact that he got that and he got that upset was just huge for him. It was very emotional. It was, I was just so proud of him. And the fact that he brought, oh my gosh, game day to Boone, North Carolina, man, so proud of that because he was he loved Boone, North Carolina, and he loved App State. And that was such a wonderful thing that I think he got to witness while he was here.
The Order of the Longleaf Pine is the most prestigious civilian honor a North Carolinian can receive. And as you mentioned, the governor posthumously awarding that to Sean earlier this year. We're being joined by Janelle Clark, 61 Initiative, talking about her husband that was lost too soon. And she's trying to make a good thing come from it and raising awareness of taking care of the coaching staffs across the country in college football. And again, close to 50 college football programs have already committed. What coach or program's feedback has been most validating in pursuing this initiative, Janelle?
Oh my word. I'm just, you know, of course we have our initial commits, and those are always very special. The first one was Eastern Kentucky University. It's where I played softball. It's my home. Sean's first job. That's where we met. It's like it makes so much sense. And then obviously we had App as a all school, not all schools, I'm sorry, all college, oh my golly, all sports in their facility are adhering to the 61 initiative. So it's kind of like a pilot program to see how we can, keep sustaining this and have it trickle to the different, usually football is your flagship, your big, and then it trickles down and your revenue sport. And so we want to give that opportunity to all coaches, women's coaches, women's sports. And, I was a female athlete, so I think that's really important, but here's where we start. This is the heart of it. And, my word, I can't say in particular, but I've just had so many coaches that people say, oh my gosh, you talked to so-and-so. And I said, yeah, I did. That's good. And they, oh yeah. Bill O'Brien, Coach Sweeney. We've had Coach Cristobal out of Florida. We've had Belichick. We've had Coach. Oh my gosh, Coach Doran at NC State, Coach Satterfield at UC. We've had the most wonderful buy-in because they loved his reputation always preceded him, because he was just a good man. He started with a good heart, a good soul, a logical mind, and he was just, as much as you thought he was that. It was not a show. So.
If Coach Clark is watching us from above, Janelle Clark's with us here, he'd be livid with me if I didn't close our conversation a certain way. From the moment we met, we always connected over movies. Whenever we talk in a public forum, he'd always ask what movies WD and I had been watching, often seeking recommendations. The first time we met, me and Coach Clark, I remember he was talking about you, and he was talking about Pretty Woman, saying that was the first movie you guys watched together on a date, I think. How high is that Julia Roberts classic on your list of favorites?
Oh, well, it became one of my favorites because it was Sean's favorite. Of course, everybody's seen it. Back in the day, I was 6 years younger than Sean. So I wasn't allowed to watch Pretty Woman. I wasn't allowed to watch a few shows. And it's just, it's funny after seeing and obviously I saw it before, but meeting him and his loves for movies, of course they became mine, because I could see him just light up while he watched, and it was a release for him, it was. And he always wanted to know what the newest thing was because he didn't have time to figure it out. So he was always looking for recommendations.
I love that you set the record straight, that is his favorite, not your favorite. That's Pretty Woman is his favorite.
It's his, not mine. Yeah. Not that I don't love it, of course, but I don't know. I think I'll always go back to The Notebook. It is what it is. It's a rom-com, but I'm a very empathetic person, and I always put myself in the shoes of other people. And for me, I see myself in that, and what a beautiful love. So.
Janelle, we thank and pray for your family, and thanks so much for sharing about the 61 initiative. And we hope that it helps and saves coaches across the country. Is there any way that people can find more about the 61 initiative?
Absolutely. Right now we're in the process of finalizing our website. We are kind of I'd say building the car as we started driving it. We're over socials. We're at X and Insta, and we're on Facebook and all the socials. But let me see. We are 100% available when you look at those socials and. Yeah. But we are so excited. We hope to get more awareness. And if I can say anything to anybody, if you love sports, if you watch sports, if these guys are guys that you look up to, understand that they're just like you. They need the recommendation. They need the push to go get a physical as well. And they're masculine men, and they're macho and prideful, but they're also selfless, and they're servant leaders. So understand that those are some of the things that you need to, remember, be remembered for that in getting those initial prevention screenings, and do it for your family, do it for your wife, and do it for your children, and your mom and dad, and do it for people who love you and know what you don't know.
Janelle Clark, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad we got to talk, Josh. I really am. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Janelle Clark joining us, and appreciate the time. Well, it's a great conversation, but it is true, Will. You deal with dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe in the hundreds of coaches when you do this for a long period of time. But I could maybe count on one hand the coaches I'd consider close friends, and Sean Clark, one of those people. And I still miss him. I still think about him. I still think about Janelle and the kids. Gone at 50. It's not how it's supposed to happen. And her pursuing this rather than running away from the sport, I think takes courage, and I don't use that word lightly. So it's something worth looking into and supporting, as it seems a lot of coaches across college football and a lot of college football programs are looking to do. It is fitting that we're talking about a team in the Tar Heel State, because Sean Clark, former App State head coach, because that state is about to be the center of the sports universe. Carolina Hurricanes, they can win the Stanley Cup tonight. I'm a diehard lifelong Canes fan. We'll see what happens there. Game 6 in Las Vegas. Will Dalton is a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, and the Tar Heels might be the best team in college baseball. They face West Virginia in Omaha at the top of the hour, or at least it's supposed to start at that time. Troy just eliminated Ole Miss. So while one half of the bracket features all SEC teams, the other half had one SEC team, Ole Miss, and they're the first team eliminated from Omaha. So this game, it has giant stakes attached to it. North Carolina facing West Virginia tonight. Likely and strong likelihood the winner of this game is going to find itself playing in the championship series in Omaha.
It's very exciting. Carolina looked They had to surge in the late innings in their first game against Ole Miss, but they got it done. Had some really strong pitching on the mound. So West Virginia's good, though. They're very good. Pat McAfee's West Virginia Mountaineers.
You want to know whose pitching did not look good? The Sacramento A's today. Final score, Colorado 23, the A's 9. The Colorado Rockies, how bad does your day have to be to have the Rockies put 23 on your head? Like, we're talking about the Rockies that have the worst record in baseball by far. And the Rockies put 23 on the A's today. 23! Jordan number. 23 put on the board. How many homers do you think they hit in that game? If you had to guess. I have it right here.
I know they had that grand slam.
Maybe a couple.
Willie Castro with the grand slam. Let's go with 4. 4 homers.
The answer, somehow, well, it is 4. Look at you.
Hey! And I didn't look it up. That was a pure guess.
I'm wrong. It's not 4. They had 6 homers today. Not a bad day in the office when you hit 6 dingers. And by the way, while we're talking about the Rockies, you know what the name of their mascot is? Dinger. He's a...
Oh, is it?
It's like a purple Barney-looking dinosaur. 23 runs.
Shout out to Dinger.
6 homers. Shout out to Dinger. What do we got to put this show to bed?
The Lego Bandit has been busted.
Before we get to that, let's go to Ryan, who's in Ontario. Ryan, are the Hurricanes going to close out Vegas tonight? You get the last word.
Oh, yeah, eh? Yeah. Rod the bod, eh, Graham? You're a beauty.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So
I
they
love
are
the show,
closing it
Josh.
out.
Yeah. I can't
And you're rooting
wait.
for them. And you're rooting for them because of Rod the Bod.
Absolutely. Rod the bod.
Can you tell your friends at the Hall of Fame in Toronto to let Rod the Bod in the Hall of Fame? Because that's kind of a thing that's ridiculous, that he won a Stanley Cup as a captain, was the best player on a Cup final runner-up in 2002 and 97 with Philly. He should be in as a player, but now, like, with bringing a team to the Cup final and probably about to win it, can we get Rod over the finish line? Can you tell your friends over there to make it happen?
Well, I hope so, because I live in St. Thomas, Ontario. I'm a Jumbo Joe, and we can make things happen, Josh.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Good to hear from you from Ontario. We will put this show to bed next.
The Hurricanes are one game away from lifting Lord Stanley's Cup and claiming their second title in franchise history. Can the Golden Knights keep their season alive? Game 6 is tonight. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
Will Dalton, will we have exclusive reaction on the social medias after a Carolina Hurricanes Stanley Cup win?
I mean, if they win, certainly we'll have exclusive.
See, if they win the night, yes, we'll have something there. If it's a Game 7, win or lose for the Hurricanes, I will be doing Westwood One Sports Night from the building Wednesday night in Raleigh. So
I think that's what's going to happen.
I don't think so. Hurricanes by 4.
4?
4.
Wow, you think Vegas is getting it, like, handed to them tonight?
I think it's done. I think Carolina broke Vegas. Broketed their toy. That's what I think they did. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel and to the podcast feed. Westwood One Sports Night, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. The YouTube channel as well that continues to grow. However, and wherever you listen or watch, greatly appreciate that. Thanks to John Forsland, who has the national radio call for the Stanley Cup Final, joining us from T-Mobile Arena. Also, Janelle Clark for dropping by as well. Be sure to look into the Sean Clark Legacy Foundation and the 61 Initiative. To close out today's program, let's put this show to bed.
So, in this story, there's apparently a string of Lego thefts that has been cracked. Apparently, this has been a thing going on. So, this guy, his name's Louis, one of the two. He's 54 years old, so he's an older gentleman. He got arrested at a Walmart, and they caught him because he was busted stealing some Legos, and they believe that he's in connection with, like I said, a string of Lego thieves. But it's been like thousands of dollars worth of Legos that this guy's apparently stolen. They say it's been like Star Wars sets, Harry Potter sets. So this guy appears to be like a giant nerd, which don't know if you can see my background or not, but I can relate.
For those watching on YouTube or watching on X, Remove me from the screen for a second, just so people can see Will Dalton.
What we got
he has here. Yeah. You could see. There's a Darth Vader head.
Yeah.
There's the ESPN ACC sign and the media interview sign that you stole from March Madness tournaments.
I did.
You did that. What's that sign on the second to top shelf? Furthest away from you, say. Second.
This one?
Second shelf. Yeah.
Oh, this. Oh,
that
that's
one.
just, it says ice cream. It says ice cream.
It's an ice cream sign. Okay?
Yeah.
You got the PlayStation thing that lights up. But here's the thing. You would think when you're on camera that you would light up the things that light up.
Well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't.
So the ice cream sign lights up?
Yeah.
I want a payoff here. That's what I want. Light that thing up. I want to see that thing.
Well, I gotta.
Before you get over here,
go get
you're coming over to the
plug.
crib for
let me
Game
see.
6 later tonight. By the way, Mike Wickett. Good luck following this, Mike. Got Will Dalton. Got Will Dalton putting on ice cream signs and PlayStation lights in his nerd cave. Here's how you know you're a child. He doesn't even call it a man cave. He calls it a game room. That's what he calls it. There it is. See, it didn't work out so well because
Yeah, because you can't really make it out. Yeah, you can just. It's
awful
just lit.
payoff. Gosh. There's a Panther helmet. What's the helmet next to the Panther helmet?
It's a Yankee helmet.
This show
Got
just
Spider-Man
ended with
up here.
thud.
Spider-Man mask.
There's only one person.
Hey,
I apologize
Wicket!
to.
What's
I
happening,
hear
man?
my
This
Wicket
show
voice.
ended with a thud.
That's the guy. That's the guy that I apologize to because, like, we're supposed to be a good lead-in.
Good handoff. Nice, nice guys.
And no, this is a Mark Sanchez butt fumble handoff. That's what this was.
It's not.
It was.
It's not.
Mike Wickett, I'm sorry. Please do better than we just did. This has
Let's
been
go.
the Josh Graham Show.
Wood One Sports.